We evaded a shutdown,
Yes.
but it's a temporary one. So first question is, do you think we're going to evade it again, or do you think there's a deal that will be made finally so that we don't ever get into the situation?
As long as people will keep accepting U.S. debt, we will always kick the can down the street. It's just we wonder when eventually they won't accept our IOUs.
Right.
But it seems to be they're calling on us. You know, the debt crisis and the amount we're spending is always exceeding what we're bringing in, and it seems like we're running into this crisis multiple times a year. So eventually, it's going to come to a head.
Is there an option for us to get away from this?
Yes,
We've
the
built
the option is we balance the budget. That's our option. We balance the budget, and we don't spend more than what we can afford. That's how you avoid these things. So, and you know, if you go back 20, 30 years, we didn't have these happening multiple times a year. They happened. They didn't happen multiple times in a year,
Right.
like they do now.
Yeah.
So American Express is calling. They want their money. But it's not the American Express. It's China. You know, whoever else has our.
With all our spending, where do you think we can cut that won't damage the country too much?
That's a great question. I think more worrying about cutting. I think you have to open up for business to be more profitable. You know, I think that's, and listen, as much as I'm an entrepreneur and you know, there's advantages to being an entrepreneur, I do think there are a lot of loopholes for big corporations that need to be changed. And I know it's not a popular subject, but you know, medium and small businesses and high earners, percentage-wise, pay more tax than every company on the stock exchange. You know, percentage-wise. Yeah, in total they pay more, but a lot of them don't. So I think that's something we do need to look at. It's just how our tax structure is set up. And then I think just focusing on growth, focusing on ways to give tools to small and medium-sized business owners who do pay a lot of tax and do create a lot of jobs, allowing them to continue to flourish. In this economy right now, it's scary. I talk to business owners all the time, and they are gun-shy to hire and gun-shy to expand. And it's that's not going to get us out of this hole.
Do you think we should bring back manufacturing to the U.S.?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, my great example, my father was a garment manufacturer. My mom's father, my grandfather was a manufacturer before, and they used to manufacture clothes here in Los Angeles. And about halfway through my father's career, everything moved to China. And he he went from having a pretty big factory to a very small factory. Everything was going overseas, and the only thing that he really had an edge on was anyone that wanted anything quicker than what China could do. If they needed it in a week or 2 weeks, he had the ability to do that, and he did it here fast. But now it's moved over to Vietnam and different places. So yeah, I mean, I think you look at things like the strike, the auto workers strike, and moving that kind of, and those are decently paying jobs. Those are kind of the jobs that reminds me of the 70s and the 80s and 90s, where people would have enough to be able to afford a house and like build a nice nest egg for themselves. So yeah, I absolutely think it's important that we encourage manufacturing here, and encourage jobs. Getting people into jobs that they don't want to do, like construction is massive opportunity in construction right now. So we'll see if people are willing to do those jobs. But anyone that's willing to get their hands dirty and work, there's plenty of opportunities right now.
But just the cost of people is just so high that it's going to make you not profitable if you manufacture here.
Yeah, I mean, there is that culture shock. I think that the problem is that we've been so used to buying, stuff like this, like a shirt like this. People, would want to get the shirt like this. It's, a shirt for $20 or $25 or $30. Whereas if this was made in the U.S., maybe it costs, 30 or 40% more. Me personally, I'd pay it because I think if you keep the money here, it just circulates back around, right? So if you can buy from a U.S. made location, which I always try to do, you're keeping the money in house, and it's going to get circulated around everybody else. So that's something that people need to really think about is where their dollars are going, and the idea of American made and buying those products is important, and we need to continue to focus on that.